Hello, everybody. I wish I knew how to edit because I have already stopped and started and restarted this video over like a handful of times already because there ends up being one loud noise or other, or people walking by, and I don't want to, um, you know, record their talking in the video or I lose my train of thought. I don't know. I'm just kind of laughing at it right now because, yeah, I've literally tried to do this video multiple times. So I'm going to just try to power through and get it actually done this time, and bear with me. And I apologize if there's any, buses that go by or people walking by talking loudly. I'm just going to try to continue and definitely put it on my to-do list to try to figure out how to edit stuff like that out. But today is September 17th, 2024. The scale today said 226.8. That is down a little bit from the last video I posted. And it is also a little bit closer to my first weight loss goal that I've been aiming for of 225 that has been eluding me. I swear, like once I get to 225, I'm probably going to do a little dance because I feel like it seems like the smallest little goal, right, to get from like 230 down to 225, and I've been struggling for months despite whatever efforts. So yeah, so I'm a little bit closer to that goal, and I'm gonna just keep plugging away until I can report back to you that I have finally achieved that goal. What I wanted to talk about today is actually the shift that I've had finally in recent years when it comes to thinking about weight loss and losing weight, and that whole theme. I know I start out each of these videos reporting the date and my weight, and I do want to do that as a chronicle because, as I've said in other videos, if you've watched, I do recognize that my weight, my level of overweightness, obesity, is definitely a negative impact on my health and an obstacle to a lot of the goals I have in my life, especially my health goals. And so, yeah, losing weight does have to be a part of my equation, and it is going to be a part of what I log here in these videos and what I report to you about. However, I don't want anybody watching to think that I think that what you weigh or losing weight or that whole theme is the end all be all. And I just want you to know very clearly that that is not how I feel about it. It's not my only focus. It's just a means to an end. If I could have less weight on my body from, say, fat, visceral fat especially, then I will probably be able to breathe better, breathe easier, not have as much difficulty with activity and stuff like that. So how do I measure the loss of my visceral fat? Again, I'm no expert. There's probably ways to do this that I'm either not privy to or I don't have the facilities to do. I do have a scale though, and the scale does give me some other biometric readings. It's a smart scale from my friend Annie, shout out. And it does connect to an app on my phone where I can record this data and track it, and that's helpful. But in general, it's a scale, so it measures my weight first and foremost. And I'm going to try to proceed in a healthy way with my efforts at weight loss so that we can all assume that as I'm losing weight, it's not just water weight, or I'm not wasting away at my muscle mass. I'm I'm liking to think that a loss of weight in my case is going to hopefully translate to a loss of body fat. And if you know of some better way to track this or monitor this that a person can do from home without breaking the bank, like, by all means, let me know. But what what I wanted to share about mindset, the shift that I've had in mindset in recent years, probably like in the last handful of years, is that it's not really about what the scale says. It's not really about what your weight is, that number on the scale, even what your goal weight is or anything like that. I think what it really has to be about is it has to be about something bigger than that, something more meaningful than that. Because speaking from my own experience, when I was younger, and I've been some form of overweight most of my adult life. This is definitely the heaviest I've ever been. And when I was younger, it was probably more like, not even above 200, but still at least 180. And according to the BMI charts and things like that, I think I'm supposed to weigh something like 115. I cannot remember the last time I was 115. I think I was a child, and I know there's mixed opinions about those BMI charts and stuff. So again, who do you listen to? I don't know. But I can just tell you that for most of my adult life, I've been some version of overweight. And at younger points in my life, through my teens and my 20s and 30s even, I was definitely always trying this or that or the other to lose weight. And at that time, stumbling over my words a little bit, it was definitely about the weight. It was definitely about the number on the scale. It was definitely about being fat, looking fat, feeling fat, and not wanting to have that problem. And so everything that I tried, like if I joined Weight Watchers or if I went on a diet or I tried to exercise more or something, it was always specifically very much about trying to influence that number on the scale and to get to some ideal number so that I would look in some kind of aesthetic, ideal way. And you know what? It never worked. It never worked. I was never, not for me anyway, I was never one of those people that cared enough about my aesthetics or the number on the scale that it would like compel me through finally reaching that weight goal or seeing that weight on the scale. I mean, just quite honestly, it just never did. It never did. And I know now, looking back at those times, I know now why it didn't work. It didn't work because I wasn't doing the right combinations of things, like maybe I would eat diet food, like low fat this or what diet that or whatever, which I never liked, I never loved, I never enjoyed. And I definitely felt some degree of deprived by having to eat that way and not the way everybody else ate or whatever. And it never stuck, because it wasn't something that I enjoyed. And while I valued to some degree the idea of losing weight and becoming thinner and better looking, I just never valued it enough, I guess. So fast forward to where I am now in the last handful of years. And, I'm getting older, and anybody who is getting older like I am can probably corroborate the fact that as you get older, like you feel it. You can feel yourself getting older. You can feel your body and even your mind struggling in ways that you didn't used to struggle before. Like, you know, youth is wasted on the young, or like, how is it that they say? Because like, man, if I had had like any of this realization when I was younger, I could be a rock star, you know? But shoulda, woulda, coulda, you know, I'm not gonna beat myself up. I'm not gonna should on myself. So yeah, I definitely in recent years have been feeling my age and feeling, you know, various bodily discomforts and knowing, like absolutely knowing that my obesity is not helping. It's not helping me feel good. It's not helping me feel capable, and it's becoming more of a struggle. So that was the first shift. The first shift was thinking about needing to lose weight in order to, I don't know, look better or fit some kind of norm, to shifting to realizing, like, you know what, this weight is not, it does not feel good on my body. It's making everything more difficult and contributing to my discomforts, like your sore knees, you know, going upstairs or downstairs. When you're 100 pounds overweight, you know, that's a lot different than when you're not. So at least I can assume so. That's what I hear people say who have managed to lose weight and keep it off. You know, and that's what I want. I want to take the excess weight off my body so that I can give the break to my joints and give the break to my internal organs like my heart, my lungs, you know, all of that. And so that was kind of the first shift, is recognizing that, you know, we're not even talking about this in terms of aesthetics, you know, we're talking about this in terms of just overall how I'm feeling in my body. And then from there, as I started to kind of look into more things, more like, instead of looking for just the quick fix, you know, weight loss, quick fix thing, I was looking to understand more of, like, okay, so what's going on with this? Like, why am I like having trouble losing weight even when I try to exercise more? Like, I joined like that Beachbody program or whatever it was at one point, that I had some people that I knew that were doing, and they were doing really well. They were enjoying it and they were losing weight. Well, I did it because I was thinking, like, well, maybe that's what I need. Maybe I need some kind of a program to follow without any questions about what I should be doing, that I can do, like, without any excuses at any time of the day and night in my home. Doesn't require a lot of equipment or whatever. And I just need to do it. I need to hit it hard. I need to do it every day. And, like, maybe that would be the piece of the equation that was missing. But no, I busted my butt for like 3 months in a row, doing like basically everyday exercise for 40 minutes or more at a time, and like literally kind of kicking my own butt trying to keep up with those young people in the videos. And like, I didn't end up losing pretty much any weight. But I did end up injuring my knee. Like, I injured my knee so bad from one of the maneuvers that I did, apparently improperly, that yeah, I was really afraid that I was like, had messed up my knee forever. I am happy to say that I did eventually recover and it does feel like a normal knee again, but it took like a year, like a good year, for my knee to be right after that. And for what? Like, I didn't, you know, hitting the exercise hard every day didn't seem to do the trick. And then there have been other times where, you know, I focused just on the eating. Like, okay, so with the exercising every day, I will say that I was not following any kind of a specified program of eating. And I do think that was a big problem. And it was because I was sort of under this mistaken impression that, you know, you just, like, it doesn't matter what you eat as long as you're exercising like religiously every day, like exercise will do the trick. Well, no, it didn't. It didn't. I discovered in that experiment that you can't out exercise what you eat. Like, anybody who does exercise on a regular basis, you've probably seen it. Like, you can bust your butt like running on a treadmill for like a half an hour and you only burn like a certain amount of calories. And like, I'm not great at calorie counting or anything, so I don't know. Let's say you burned 500 calories running on that treadmill for a half an hour. You can eat like one cheeseburger and that's like more than 500 calories. So Yeah, that experiment showed me that you can't out exercise what you eat. So looking at the times where I did like really strict dieting, like really following very specific programs or guidelines or things like that. Well, that didn't, unto itself, that didn't work either because I think that I would lose maybe an initial amount of weight, which was probably mostly water weight or maybe some, inflammation or something. But then I would kind of hit a level where I just wouldn't lose anymore. And then I would lose my motivation because, like, why am I restricting what I'm eating if I'm not losing like numbers on the scale? Like, what's the point, right? And I already feel like this video is getting a little longer than I wanted it to be. So I'm going to try to wrap this up with, the point that I really wanted to share. So this is probably going to be like a no duh situation for, people who have already had success with their weight loss or health journeys. But it does have to be a combination. It is, from my experimenting around, it is definitely the lessons I'm learning is that I have to have a certain balance, a certain combination of efforts that I make physically with exercise and efforts that I make also nutritionally, like with what I'm eating. And I think it's more than that too, actually. I think it also goes into your lifestyle overall. And when people talk about lifestyle, I think they tend to think really quickly about, like, well, do I have a sedentary lifestyle or not? And sure, that is part of your level of activity, but I mean other lifestyle stuff like, are we getting enough sleep? You know, because if you have somebody who's eating right and exercising right, and you have two people that are doing this, and one of them is also getting good sleep and the other one is not, I think you're going to see a difference between, let's say if it was a twin study, one twin is getting enough sleep and one twin is not. Like, I think that makes a difference. And I think other things make a difference, like stress level and how well we manage our stress and what we're doing to manage our stress. Like, you can't just be comfort eating, to manage your stress. So I think it is a combination of what you're eating. I will say diet, but I don't mean it as in dieting. I mean it as in what your diet is and your activity level and then your lifestyle factors. And this is the key point that I wanted to make about the mindset shift. What is happening now is that despite the scale still not really moving in the direction that I want it to go, or not moving quickly or whatever, are you listening? Because this is like the important point. I am not losing my motivation. I have good days and bad days. I accomplish more towards my goals in some days than I do at other days. And I think that's fine because, again, it's about progress, not perfection. But I still find myself motivated most of the time, most days, to try to continue to eat properly and be active and guard my lifestyle in all the ways that I need to guard and, make sure I'm getting enough sleep or managing my stress. And even though the scale is not reflecting, the kind of numbers I want to see yet, I feel differences in my body and my mind. I feel physically better overall. I kind of don't want to jinx it. I want to knock on wood, but this table is faux plastic wood. I don't want to jinx it, but I feel like I'm feeling better in my body. There's things happening in my body that I feel like I don't get as much inflammation, bouts of inflammation as I used to. I'm feeling like a lot of the breathing and airway constrictions that I've had, I feel like are easing up. Yeah, I mean, it's just subtle things right now, but I'm starting to track, not only food choices, to try to look for patterns of mistakes I'm making with that, but I'm also trying to track my symptoms to try to see if there's a pattern of like like if it lines up like what I eat or how I eat or when I eat and how that lines up with how I'm feeling. So I will definitely continue that work, and as big things become apparent to me, I will share them. But yeah, the key thing is that I'm now finding my motivation less about what the scale says and more about, am I doing the things I need to do to be healthy? You know, like I don't look at, let's say my junk food consumption, right? My processed food consumption. I don't look at that and say, well, I don't want to eat that way because, I'm going to gain weight or I need to lose weight or whatever. Like, I'm not looking at it like that anymore. I'm now looking at it like, I don't want to put junk in, you know, and I don't want to have to deal with junk out. Like, I want to put in good fuel for my body, and that is what my food is intended to be, is like, by nature, food is intended to be our fuel. And so we don't really need to be eating for pleasure or comfort or enjoyment or social interaction. I mean, sure, we can eat in all those ways, but that's not really what nature needs us to do. Nature needs us to fuel our body. So now I start kind of looking critically at the things that I could potentially eat. Like, let's take, fast food, junk food, processed food, for example, which I did used to eat. And now I don't really even have a desire to eat that stuff anymore. Every now and then I get hit with the convenience factor of like, I'm out and about, I'm hungry, and like, what is readily available, drive through, junk food. So that convenience factor still hits me sometimes. But then it's like I take a minute and I think about it and I'm like, no, because I know how that's going to feel in my body. It's not going to feel good. And even though I might be experiencing like hunger in that moment, and hunger isn't really comfortable, I can remind myself that hunger is not an emergency. I have plenty of pantry stores on my body so that if I have to miss a meal, even, or, eat my meal later than expected, like today, I would have expected to eat by now. It is 2:23 and I have yet to eat today. Now, don't freak out about that. I feel fine. I'm not hangry. I'm not having low blood sugar. I'm actually trying to adjust my body in the direction of eating less often overall, like kind of an intermittent fasting sort of thing. And I'll talk about that more in another video, what I'm doing with that and why I want to be doing that. But my current protocol is supposed to be 2 meals a day, and my first meal is generally usually around lunch. But I've had some stuff happen today that's kind of out of my normal, and I handled all that, and then I wanted to go ahead and get this walk in. So I'm just kind of putting off that first meal until after this walk, and it'll be fine. Like, I feel a little hungry. I feel like my body's like, noon. I think we were supposed to eat at noon, and it's now 2:30, coming up on 2:30. But it's not a panicked situation. It's not like again, I'm eating healthy enough when I am eating that I don't end up with like blood sugar crashes in between meals, like where it's like, I gotta eat, I've got the dizzies, I'm shaky, I'm hangry, I'm biting people's heads off. Like, I'm not struggling with that, right now. And that is kind of evidence that some of the changes that I am making are doing good. Like, the scale may not show that I've lost weight for today, I mean, actually, it did show that I lost a little bit of weight today, but I mean, overall, I'm still not at 225. I still haven't met my first goal of losing 5 pounds. You know, but it's okay. It's okay if I'm, what do they call them? Non-scale victories. I'm having a non-scale victory. I'm able to go like this entire early part of the day without any food, and I feel fine, just a little bit hungry. And that is that is a good thing. That is a good thing for me. And I did hear somewhere, just as a side note, that if you're feeling hungry, that's kind of a sign that your body is tapping into, you know, the stored stuff on your body, because it's still got to function. Like whether you eat or not, your body's still got to function. So I've heard people say, like, make a friend with your hunger, because your hunger is kind of a signal that your body is now no longer burning what you've just stuffed into your gullet. Your body is now having to like go look and see what's in the pantry and burn some of that. But yeah, one of the consequences is hunger. So I'm experimenting with trying to make friends with hunger. I'll probably do a video on that too, unto itself. But yeah, so my motivations now are different, and my mind shifts about losing weight are different. And instead of like everything I do being with the end goal of losing weight, now my focus is instead losing weight is just one of the things that I'm trying to do in order to achieve a goal that is more near and dear to my heart, which is way more meaningful for me and going to be therefore way more motivating and way more sustainable, which is making sure that I am safeguarding my health as much as I possibly can as I get older. And in light of my various, you know, health problems and diagnoses, which I owe you all an update on that. I'll be working on that soon. So yeah, for me now, the motivation, the mindset is all about like the choice I'm about to make. Is this going to contribute to my health and how I feel? Or is it going to not contribute to my health and, you know, feeling better? And it's really making it a lot easier for me than the whole like goal of losing weight ever did. Yeah. So anyway, I feel like I shared what I wanted to share. I guess some of the phrases that go along with this is like, you want to go for progress, not perfection. You want to think about being strong, not thin. You want to think about being healthy, not thin. Again, not that there's any problem with being thin. If you're thin, hey, you know, count your blessings. Or if you still have that goal to be thinner, so be it. But don't make your mindset and your focus and your motivations just rely completely only on what the scale says or how thin you think you look. Because that may not be enough. If you're like me, that may not be enough of a motivator to continue your efforts, especially when the scale is not saying what you want it to say. Now, when the scale says something I don't like it to say, again, I use it as a tool. I look at, you know, maybe back at my journal or my tracker and say, okay, well, did I eat something? Or, yeah, I guess I did go to a restaurant, and restaurant foods are always very salty, and then I retain water, and so it makes sense that the scale is up a pound. You know, like I'll use it like that. The weight on the scale, I'll use it as sort of data to kind of help me figure out what is or isn't helping my efforts. But otherwise, I just, you know, I look at the weight on the scale and I'll either be like, well, shucks, it's not what I want it to be. But hey, I hit another day of hitting my step goal, and I know that's good for me. And I hit another day of getting enough sleep, and I know that's good for me. And I continue to attend my restorative yoga classes, which are really helping my nervous system down regulate from all the stress in my life. So, you know, that's good for me. So, yeah. And I'm really grateful for having had this mindset shift. I'm really grateful that I really just don't care as much about the weight loss unto itself or what the scale says unto itself. I'm really grateful now that for me, it's all about health and wellness and feeling comfortable in my body instead of discomforted. I want to, you know, I want to have health. I don't want to have disease. So, yeah, it's very motivating. And it makes it a lot easier to appreciate those non-scale victories, despite whatever the scale says. So thank you for listening. I hope this was helpful. I hope it was worth the 30 minutes. I'm trying to keep these shorter, but this is a topic that's really important to me and is really helping me a lot right now. And it was really important for me to try to get it out to you guys and share it with you guys. So I wish you a beautiful day and I wish you the best of health.